And I know a number of you guys are over from Jared's channel and enjoy his content. And, you know, just so you know, I mean, I don't, we don't claim to be like in full agreement on everything we do, because I don't work for Jared, and we don't have to necessarily agree on everything. Like, I don't stress test the same way Jared does, and that's why my stress test results are so different than Jared's stress test results. Well, his stress tests are done in Ada64, and he just selects CPU, whereas I select CPU and FPU because that fully stresses the CPU out, and you get to a point where you max everything out, so you're just down to how does the laptop handle itself thermally. And one of the funny things is with these AMD laptops, a lot of OEMs, I guess their stress testing just doesn't push the laptops as hard as it really should. And I imagine a lot of them are like Ada64 CPU's test, because you can see in a lot of the laptops, they hit 105C and they just smash the temp limit like crazy. And, you know, again, I'm willing to blame a lot of that on just weird internal testing utilities that don't properly stress test the system. And that's why you see those high temperatures, because the engineers are like, well, at any reasonable workload, the CPU is not going to get to a point where it's, you know, going to hit those temp limits, so it's fine. And I'm not of that belief, because eventually we'll be at a point, I'm fairly sure we'll be at, I'm pretty sure at least, that the 4800H is going to be, you know, not the best performing CPU in the world, because, you know, 5 years from now, it's probably going to feel pretty outdated in terms of gaming performance. So eventually that CPU is going to be running like at like red line like crazy, and it's going to need good thermal management. So, you know, you got to think ahead. You can't design thermals for the current games. You got to design thermals for the future, for longevity, and that's why I don't really like the OMEN's thermal system, because it just sits at 105. And the Legion has the same exact problem. So I can't really say it's HP's fault. It's just kind of like everybody's screwed up this time around, which is not great, and, you know, totally not acceptable by any means. But you know, it's a thing that you can fix.